Ozempic has blown up recently as a diabetes and weight loss wonder drug. But how safe is it really? How does it actually work? And what considerations should people be aware of? We'll look at these and other important questions in today's video, including unprecedented benefits, side effects, foods to stay away from if you're on Ozempic, and the dreaded Ozempic Face. We'll also explore surprising new data on certain addictions that are showing promise with Ozempic. This video isn't about trying to convince you that Ozempic is good or bad, but laying out the facts and most recent scientific knowledge. After all, this is a very new medication that has exploded into the scene. As such, scientists are racing to understand the potential benefits, downsides, and how it interacts in the real world. That's what we do at Diabetics Talk. We explore the science of health and put it into plain English. So if you haven't already, click the subscribe button to stay up to date with our new videos. Okay, first of all, what is Ozempic? Ozempic is the brand name for a medication containing semaglutide. It was originally designed to suppress blood sugar levels and works with a three-pronged approach. First, it mimics a hormone called GLP-1. When you eat food, GLP-1 is naturally released from your intestines, which then tells your pancreas to release insulin. Insulin is then going to open up cells and allow glucose to enter, where it produces energy. Because insulin resistance is the root cause problem for type 2 diabetes, this process ultimately helps to control type 2 diabetes, albeit artificially. Secondly, Ozempic suppresses glucagon released from the liver, which again balances blood sugar levels. Essentially, the big promise is that this drug will balance blood sugar highs and lows, but it also has some unexpected extra impacts, which we'll get into in a moment. Another major selling point is that it's taken as a once-a-week injection, making it more appealing compared to daily treatments. Let's face it, nobody likes the idea of having to take a pill or give themselves a shot every single day. It's easy to forget, it's a hassle, and it can be demoralizing. Moreover, research shows that adherence is higher with less frequent dosing. But what does the science say about Ozempic, diabetes, and broader health? Overall, it appears to be more effective than most medications for controlling blood sugar, but it does come with potentially serious concerns. A 2021 study published in the British Medical Journal combined data from 4 real-world studies evaluating the effects of semaglutide on patients with type 2 diabetes. Over 30 weeks, researchers looked at changes in HbA1c blood sugar levels, finding that on average, patients' HbA1c dropped by 1.1 percentage points. Furthermore, over half of the patients achieved an HbA1c level below 7%, the key target for diabetics. So essentially, the drug works to artificially reduce blood sugar levels if that's your goal. But what about weight loss? As we discussed, Ozempic is designed for type 2 diabetes, but something strange happened here. People started noticing that when they took Ozempic, they lost a ton of weight. That's partially because semaglutide also slows gastric emptying, which makes you feel fuller for longer. Again, beneficial, but with potential downsides. Beyond that, semaglutide interferes with hormone signaling. Now, it's important to understand that we don't crave food because we need energy, at least not directly for that reason. Instead, when we need energy, a hormone sends a signal to our brain, triggering what we know as hunger or a feeling of craving. It's all hormonal. Things like soda and sugar can interfere with those hormones and make us crave more and more. And with a similar hormonal mechanism, semaglutide can do the opposite, essentially suppressing hormones and telling your brain that you're satisfied. This is a major point of difference over other drugs, potentially the reason why Ozempic has become such a big craze, because people don't crave food, making the process a whole lot easier. Now, approximately 80% of individuals with type 2 diabetes also struggle with obesity. So while there are plenty of skinny people with type 2 diabetes, losing weight is a crucial factor for many. For overweight diabetics, getting to a healthy weight range has been shown to significantly improve insulin and blood sugar control. This is where Ozempic's cousin comes in, a drug called Wegovy. The main difference between Ozempic and Wegovy is that Wegovy has a higher dose of the active ingredient semaglutide, turning up the dial on appetite suppression and weight loss. In 2021, the company who makes both drugs, Novo Nordisk, sponsored a large clinical trial which had remarkable results. Participants who took 2.4 milligrams of semaglutide for 68 weeks lost an average of 14.9% body weight, compared to just 2.4% in a placebo group. That's an unheard of result and really kicked off the demand for Wegovy. Of course, it's still early days in terms of identifying real-world impact, and it's important to understand that the early research was paid for by the drug company itself. However, in the age of social media and the promise of a drug that can make you lose weight without feeling hungry, these drugs have become a sensation like nothing we've seen before. Fast forward a few months, and due to high demand, Wegovy is constantly sold out. As a result, many people turn to Ozempic for weight loss, leading to shortages of both drugs. A cynic might say that this story is only possible due to social media influencers and a desire for instant results. But if weight loss and reducing blood sugar are the goal, then these two drugs do seem to tick the boxes. But what about the potential side effects? The most commonly reported issues are gastrointestinal. We're talking nausea, vomiting, burping, bloating, and diarrhea. For many people, these hit hard and fast, especially in the first weeks or after increasing the dosage. If you do take Ozempic, here's an important tip. Eat slowly, and as soon as you even feel slightly full, stop eating immediately. Otherwise, you might end up with uncontrollable burping and all of the rest. It's not pretty. Likewise, drinking plenty of water is especially important if you're taking these medications. Staying hydrated reduces constipation and dehydration, and of course, it's going to help your body to keep blood sugar under control. Some people say the discomfort is worth it for the results, but that's ultimately an individual choice. Next, you might have heard of Ozempic Face. Yep, it's a real thing. Rapid weight loss from using Ozempic can leave your face looking gaunt and saggy. So this isn't necessarily about the Ozempic itself, but can happen with any sudden weight loss. Your body simply can't keep up. The name Ozempic Face comes from the fact that we haven't really ever seen a phenomenon like this before, where so many people are taking such a dramatic weight loss drug. Gradual weight loss is the natural order of things. So if you suddenly lose so much, your skin takes time to adjust. If you want to avoid skin sag and other issues, sticking to a lower dosage may help you. Drinking plenty of water will keep your skin hydrated and allow it to adjust better. And some doctors recommend exercising and eating plenty of protein to help maintain muscle and skin tone. Eating plenty of fruits and antioxidant-rich colorful vegetables, especially those high in vitamin C, will boost collagen production and keep your skin firm. Likewise, hair loss can be an issue. Again, this can be a result of the shock to your body rather than a direct side effect of the drug itself. Now, beyond the discomfort and aesthetic factors, there are more serious potential side effects to be aware of. For example, Ozempic may temporarily worsen diabetic retinopathy, an eye condition caused by damage to the blood vessels in the retina. This is a leading cause of blindness in people with diabetes, so it's crucial that any diabetic considering Ozempic talks to their doctor first and has their eyes checked regularly. Semaglutide has also been reported to cause gastrointestinal problems like ileus, intestinal blockage, as well as gastroparesis or stomach paralysis. These conditions can be very serious. Normally, your muscles contract to propel food through your digestive tract, but if you develop gastroparesis, this can slow right down or stop working completely, which prevents your stomach from emptying properly. Another rare but very serious side effect is pancreatitis. Because these drugs force the pancreas to produce more insulin, they may increase the risk for inflammation and other issues that contribute to pancreatitis. Again, this isn't particularly common, but it can happen. This risk is especially increased if you also consume alcohol. More on that in a moment, or if you have triglycerides or have a genetic predisposition for pancreas problems. There are also concerns about a potential increased risk of thyroid cancer. In rat studies, Ozempic caused thyroid C-cell tumors. It's unknown if there's an increased risk in humans, but as a precaution, Ozempic should not be taken by anyone with a history of medullary thyroid carcinoma or multiple endocrine neoplasia syndrome type 2. And if you're taking other medications, it's important to note that Ozempic may interact with them. For example, it can enhance the effects of insulin and sulfonylurea, leading to low blood sugar. Likewise, it may have adverse interactions with common medications like antidepressants, acetaminophen, anticonvulsants, antipsychotics, diuretics, steroids, birth controls, and more. So as always, if you're considering Ozempic or Wegovy, only ever do so with guidance from a healthcare professional and make sure you fully understand the potential risks and interactions. The bottom line is that while these drugs can lead to impressive weight loss and blood sugar control, they do come with risks that need to be carefully considered. Now, there are a few things that people don't talk about much when it comes to Ozempic, especially when it comes to food and drink. First off, let's talk about foods to avoid. Spicy foods, not your friend. Greasy, fatty meals, also a no-go. Basically, anything that's already hard on your digestive system is likely to cause even more issues when you're taking Ozempic, but exponentially worse. In fact, many people report almost immediate and violent vomiting after eating their favorite cheat meals. So proceed with caution, and if you are going to treat yourself, take it slowly and start with a small amount. Next, soda and sugary drinks are a no-go for anyone looking to lose weight or control diabetes. But with Ozempic, you want to avoid all bubbly drinks. Carbonated drinks can be a big problem, leading to bloating and, you guessed it, more burping. So if you're a seltzer lover or fancy the odd aqua con gas, you may want to switch to still water or tea while you're on this medication. But the big one that surprises a lot of people, alcohol. Most impressively, Ozempic appears to curb people's desire to drink. In fact, addiction researchers from the University of North Carolina believe that semaglutide blunts our dopamine response to alcohol, diminishing people's urge to drink. Furthermore, a large number of anecdotal reports suggest that people don't enjoy the taste and experience of drinking alcohol while on Ozempic. Again, because it's such a new drug and it wasn't designed to target alcohol, researchers still don't understand exactly why this happens, but we can expect to see more data on this in the coming years. On a more serious note, these medications don't mix well with alcohol. Together, they may cause flushing, dizziness, and low blood sugar. So does that mean you have to be a teetotaler? Not necessarily, but you need to be really cautious. Stick to one drink max, sip slowly, and see how you feel. And definitely don't drink on an empty stomach. All in all, Ozempic and similar drugs can be beneficial for certain people with diabetes or obesity, but the risks need to be carefully considered. They are not magic pills, and you should always be suspicious of anyone promoting them as such. In fact, many people report that when they stop taking them, the weight simply comes back. Success, but not only happens in conjunction with healthy lifestyle changes. At Diabetics Talk, our ethos is always that medication should not be a lifelong solution. It can help to temporarily reduce the challenges, giving you space to make real changes that get to the root cause. But all medication comes with side effects, which can cause more problems than they solve. So whether you're taking Ozempic or not, give yourself the best shot at success and watch our video on 11 drinks that lower blood sugar naturally, or our video on how to reduce blood sugar in 1 week. We leave links to these in the description box, or click the images on the screen. And if you haven't already, click the like button and click subscribe to see more videos as we release them.